Well, once again, it's Friday, and it's time for my Friday night movie recommendation. And this week, I'm going to recommend Donnie Darko. Now, this film came out in 2001 and was written and directed by Richard Kelly. Okay, flashback to 2001. Gee, what could have been the big historical moment back then? Well, it was the terrorist attack on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. Basically, it was 9/11. One of the reasons that had an effect on this film was this film. A big plot point is an airplane losing its engine and that engine falling to the ground. Now that had never happened up until that point, yeah, when this film came out. So this film came out like a month and a half after 9/11. And this was people were still so sensitive about things going wrong with airplanes that this movie was not heavily promoted because that was featured in the advertising. So this film didn't really reach a huge audience, but the audience it did reach, it really connected with. Okay, but back onto other big things that happened in 2001. The GameCube by Nintendo came out. The Xbox by Microsoft came out, and the iPod by Apple came out. So there was this big leap forward as far as technology and entertainment, and all of those would go on to have additional ramifications. But that was sort of like the tone. All these exciting things were also exciting at the time. Things were starting up. Whereas the Harry Potter franchise and the Lord of the Rings franchise, both of those started up that year. Um, uh, you probably don't remember it, but the number one song on the Billboard Top 100 was "Hanging by a Moment" by Lighthouse. You know, I didn't, when I was doing some research for this episode, and I didn't really remember that song. I was more interested in listening to number 59 on the chart, "Only Time" by Enya. I mean, that's where I was back in 2001. Anyway, what I really like about this film was, okay, it's kind of homage to the coming of age teen movie, a lot of which, so it's set in the 80s. It's actually October of 1988. However, while it pays tribute to that golden age of teen movies, it goes a little bit more eldritchy. We're talking dark and weird. You have an emotionally troubled teen, and he's having troublesome sleepwalking. But now, is he having visions, or are these hallucinations, or is he experiencing a psychotic break? What I really love about this film is that while there's discussion, there's not exposition. You are really left to make the connections yourself, or try to make the connections. And what's also really good is there's this multi-stagger thing. You're going to see a lot of people in the film, actors and actresses, who have gone on to really make names for themselves. And you're going to see actors and actresses who had fairly decent names for themselves when this film came out in 2001. And you're going to also see familiar faces from the 80s. So there's a lot of fun. The casting on this was kind of interesting, and so you're going to enjoy that part of it. If you like the odd film, the one that's slightly perplexing, this Donnie Darko has gone on to become like a cult favorite. So that's my movie recommendation to you. You can watch it tonight on Canopy. That's spelled with a K, Kanopy. Canopy is a streaming service provided by your local public library. All you need is your zip code, and a library card. So sign on to Canopy tonight and watch Donnie Darko. It's really worth the time. Where's my off button here?